1.5 life, but this is the first more than twice life-size piece we've ever done. The problems increase geometrically. It's not just in terms of height. Everything gets blown up.
4 times actually. It is not twice. It is twice life figure, but it is, compared to life size, 4 times larger.
All who had received word that the long-lost expedition was indeed back and coming downriver, excitedly moving forward into the scene. I could pick out characters and make one a Frenchman, one an American, 2 gentlemen, different type of characters on the riverbank. Then, of course, the members of the expedition themselves. What were they feeling? What were they thinking about at that moment? We know they fired off 3 volleys from their guns. And then York. Here's a man who was a slave for 30 years, went out onto the plains, into the mountains, went to the Pacific Ocean, a man who enjoyed freedom, and here he was coming back to St. Louis. What did life hold in store for him?
It's a pretty manly expedition, pretty much a man's world. There were no women along on the expedition until they got to the villages of the Mandan and Hidatsa Indians.
Women had a great deal to do with getting them through this journey. There was Sacagawea, the American Indian, Shoshone, I believe. I remember when the canoe tipped over one time, she saved almost all the journals. Lewis and Clark actually landed right down here, about 50 yards away from where the statue is going to be.
We poured about 50 yards of concrete into the base.
What should have been the simplest part of it turned out to be the thing that probably held us up the most. We got the final design and the site approval only 3 months in advance of the date, which meant that all the engineering, all the design, all the architecture, all the construction of the base had to be done in that final 2.5 months. I was very nervous. Vlad has always been my great psychological support. We never have any problems. 80 times we've done things like this, and he always says, oh, no problem. In this case, Harry, I think we have a problem. It was right down to the wire, and I lost not a little sleep in the last month working on it.
Right now, what looks like I'm brushing just water onto the bronze surface, actually a chemical reaction that will take place in approximately next 12 hours. This partita has acidic properties as well as those that react with the copper and bronze.
The next step will be to put the limestone on the siding, and then there's a granite top that goes on, polished granite.
I think it raises awareness of the history of our city and the role that St. Louis played in the Corps of Discovery.
We see our riverfront plan emerging, as well as things like the Lewis and Clark statue, which are just another element in our toolbox to make all these things happen. So we see our riverfront today, which is, well, it leaves a lot to be desired. So in the immediate sense, as we see the Lewis and Clark statue come down to the riverfront, it instantly creates a destination for us, and an important destination at the foot of Washington Street.
I think it's a new momentum, and I think it's here to stay, and I would love to see a fantastic, populated, vibrant exciting riverfront.
2 years worth of negotiation went into trying to find a place that we could put this statue to commemorate Lewis and Clark. And fortunately for everybody, the final compromise ended up putting this statue certainly within 50 yards, maybe right exactly on the spot where they landed and came back.
The original Corps of Discovery had a lot of help across the country, and that help came from the many American Indian tribes that they encountered. And it's a matter of record in their journals that had they not had a lot of help from the Indians, that the Lewis and Clark expedition would not have succeeded.
What'd you do? I pressed the button.
Green, how you be? Boy, oh boy. We ought to take this shot of the horse people looking nice, having been hosed down for the day.
Oh, yeah.
No, it doesn't. It's just fine. It looks up.
Wait a minute, I'm going to get in it.
I don't know where it is, but they got the mock-up of it.
I want to thank the Captain's Return Committee and all the generous donors for helping make this a reality today. I also want to recognize and thank Harry Weber and commend him for his dedication to the Captain's Return. He's someone we're very proud of here in St. Louis.
Our committee really wanted to do something that was lasting. Just as Lewis and Clark left us a legacy, we wanted to leave a legacy to the city of St. Louis.
As one who has served this nation in battle, Harry was able to create this wonderful work that so effectively captures the strength and fortitude shown by members of this organization, or this expedition. These heroes were soldiers.
It was a great group of people. All of the people who came together to work on the statue, everybody got behind it and made it happen.
The individuals associated with this project just did it. And I think there's something fresh in our civic life and refreshing about that just do it approach.
And Lucy, I am sure that you are listening. This is all you're doing. And somewhere hidden on that statue that none of you will ever find is her name engraved. Will be there forever. So you can look down on it, Lucy. Thanks very much. First of all, it was easy to understand the dog. The dog, anytime it has a job to do, something to chase, or a new thing to see, it'll be happy. It was great to do the dog. Lewis and Clark were a little more difficult. I think Lewis was a conflicted character. I think maybe on his face you can see that while there is a note of triumph, there's also a note that says that perhaps the most defining moments of his life were over. And those horizons he sought, the last horizon he saw was the riverfront of St. Louis. Clark, on the other hand, I think portrays what a soldier's dream is to be responsible. He went on to other kinds of challenges that didn't involve the dangers and the challenges that were on the trip, but they were equally important to the United States. But I think I want particularly for people to see this statue as a portrayal of human beings and what magnificent accomplishments human beings can achieve if they're simply challenged and they rise to that challenge.
Now it is our honor to present to you the Captain's Return, present to you and the people of St. Louis the Captain's Return.
There was an end to this that was bittersweet. Every time I look at one of my pieces that's up, I try to look at it like I'm a casual observer, like I wasn't the guy that did it. I'll walk around it and niggle it and see what works and what doesn't work, and just have fun with it with my eyes. And then I'll probably end up finding that one view that just knocks me out. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the frenzy. I'm going to miss the worry. I'm even going to miss the sleepless nights that were involved, toward the end. I'm going to miss the process. I think everybody that's normal and everybody that wants to do something must have a connection with these guys. For whatever adventures we construct for ourselves in our lives, I think this could stand as a nice symbol for all the adventures that we might undertake.